there for the whole shooting of the pilot? Or you just came in for a few days?
Yeah.
You're on.
Okay,
You're on.
great. Now, do you remember what you thought when you got the script?
Yeah, I remember it was the best script that I read that I'd read that whole pilot season, and I was looking, really looking to get a TV show so that I could see my children every day and work in the city in which they went to school, and you know, I got my wish. Loved the pilot, loved the character. It was, you know, I've been asked so often to play kind of authoritarian guys, cops or bad guys, guys who really knew what they wanted, were clear cut. And Dr. Macy, you know, Garrett Macy was so sort of conflicted and ambiguous and fell short of his hopes and dreams, as we all do. You know, he'd lost a mother, had a failed marriage, had a difficult relationship with his daughter. You know, just a complex guy, which I had never really been asked to play that kind of a guy over time.
One might ask, what are the skills needed for this dynamic professional? I'm glad you asked that.
What?
You heard me. I quit. I don't want to be your dad anymore. My nerves are shot. I've got an ulcer, high blood pressure, insomnia, constipation.
I get the picture.
This character, one of the things I wanted to do was drop into the character's life at the middle of a meltdown, middle of a crisis. And I never saw him in the pilot as being crazy. I saw him as being kind of the everyman. Garrett Macy was a guy who, outside of his work life, which was this kind of box, had all these interesting
Wouldn't
things.
drive a Crown Victoria.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Wanted to drive, you know, this kind of idiosyncratic
Would drive a Toyota Scion. Yeah.
And you know, he listened to, you know, jazz records from the 30s on a Victrola. He was that kind of guy.
And when his father dies, he goes to his car, sits in his car, and listens to Miles Davis.
That's right, yeah.
Come on in. Let's talk about, I mean, the network notes. After we shot it for the first time, you know,
well, you have
it was on the page.
That great soliloquy.
There was that really, maybe one of the most difficult acting days of my life. How do I do this? It's great. It's potentially on the page. Oh my God, it's unbelievable. Now, can I deliver the goods? Right. It was so scary and so hard for me, and
I think it was your first day, too.
Yeah, I think it was the first thing up.
And I remember Lisa...
It's a speech in front of all the students at the...
Tim's lovely wife was there, and I remember I rehearsed it, and I was trying to save it, and I didn't know what I was going to do. And she said to you, she goes, is that how I was going to do it? And you said, I don't know. And then when, you know, once they cranked up the camera, you know, I kind of turned loose.
Took it up.
And it scared the network.
Right.
Yeah.
They were like, he's too scary. He's too crazy. I said, well, you know, he's having a bit of a meltdown.
Right. And we went back and we then redid it again.
Yeah, but we didn't use that much of the... I mean, I remember we sort of used half and half.
I think we took out the graphic... When you were trying to scare all the students, the graphic descriptions of peeling back the brain and all that. That stuff was...
It was too wacky.
That was out there. That was great.
There's this one part where we take off the front quadrant of the skull. We make an intermastoid incision with a saw right back here. And then we reach in with our bare hands and take out the brain and put it in a plastic bucket. I mean, come on, that is just wrong.
One thing that really did improve when we reshot the end of the pilot was a scene where you're looking out the window and Jordan comes up and you start talking about your mother.
Yeah, that's right. That was a whole...
And I remember when
it really explains for the audience why you've just watched this guy go through this whole thing.
Yeah.
It was really...
and I remember you and I were sitting talking about that scene, you know, the scene, and my mother had just died, and you started talking about your father, and we couldn't look each other in the eye. We were losing it.
And Miguel brought that to that scene in a big way. And I think that made, you know, that character, you know, there was a lot that made that character beloved, but in that particular episode, that really sort of sealed the deal for everybody.
Hey.
I caught the murderer. But Garrett, are you okay?
My mother died 3 weeks ago. She had Alzheimer's.
I'm sorry. I didn't...
It's all right. I mean, we hadn't had a real conversation in 5 years, and I thought I'd already mourned her loss, you know, in my own way, but when she finally died, I don't know, I just... Hold dear to your parents, for it is a scary and confusing world without them. It's Emily Dickinson.
I remember the first time my mother, who was alive at the time, saw the pilot, and you know, she was this crazy Irish superstitious broad, and she was just, I can't believe your mother does it. I'm like, you know, what? Are you new to show business? It's a TV show, Mom. It's okay. A couple of years later, she was gone herself, but it really upset her, disturbed her. Anyway.
You know, I always saw Macy-Jordan relationship as that was the centerpiece of the entire show for me. That was the, and in some ways, because I always knew that we were never really going to domesticate Jordan. She was never really going to have, you know, a long-term relationship and get married. That was not really in the cards of what we were thinking about with the character. That in some ways, the great love of her life was actually Garrett Macy, without any sexual
or without any indication to it, or really.
It was really just it had all the hallmarks of a great romance.
You know, as you know, an actor, that was always from day one to the last day. That was always my choice. Always, what was going on for me was Garrett Macy was deeply, deeply, deeply in love with Jordan Cavanaugh.
Right.
And wasn't going to act.
You know, at the end of the first season, when she goes, "I'm quitting," and you say, "You can't quit. I won't let you quit." You know, that's too easy. You never gave up on her.
We have to make this the dawn of a new day. Clean slate. We're starting over.
Right.
So you got to promise me you're going to try to stay out of trouble.
Yeah.
You promise?
Yeah.
I'm serious.
So am I.
I'm not kidding.
Okay, fine.
All right, fine. Are you nuts? We are not breaking into this place. It's against the law.
We'll be in and out in 5 minutes. Don't worry. I'll handle this.
Great.
That was an amazing, amazing event to get the great Carl Reiner to play my father. And I remember you guys coming to me and saying, "Look, he's on the fence. He doesn't know if he wants to do it. Can you do something? Can you write a letter?" And I remember, obviously, him being great friends with my father and going to Carl Reiner's house when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
So I wrote him a letter, said, you know, "Dear Mr. Reiner, I understand that you're considering playing my father, Crossing Jordan. Just, you know, anything I can do to help you make the right decision." I said, "P.S. It's what my dad would have wanted. No pressure." And the night that show aired, he had invited me to his house to watch it. So I went there, and his wife Estelle, who made us dinner, and walking into that house on Rodeo Drive was like, it's like walking to Rob Petrie's house in New Rochelle, New York. You know, it's all from 1963, but it's perfect, it's pristine. But it's like, oh my God, they haven't made this furniture for 50 years, and so we watched the episode, and it was, you know, and it was a lot of fun, and I just loved being there. And as soon as the episode's over, the phone rings. Carl Reiner picks it up. "Hello? Hold on. Kid, it's for you." Hands me the phone. It's Mel Brooks. Oh, jeez. "Kid? You acted him off the screen. You kicked his ass." Thank you, Mr. Brooks. I don't think so, but thank you.
Well, no, wait a minute.
Okay, put Carl back on.
That last scene where you're sitting at the desk with the comic book.
Oh, yeah.
It was good. Yeah. I showed it to my kids last week. It was really fun.
Put that song on that we wanted from day
you
one.
Wrote that
I wrote
in there,
that in
Lucinda Williams.
I got the sweetest letter, speaking of which, from Carl after with this, you know, wonderful, heartwarming kind of appreciation for having been able to work with you and
it was a great experience.
It was just terrific.
An amazing experience.
It was really one of those great things, you know. It was one of the few times that I actually went down and took pictures with somebody on the set, you know, that I wanted to have.
I still have mine from that day.
Yeah. The birthday, when it was his birthday, we got him the cake.
Yeah.
And everything.
Reminds me, I could use a little cash to clean myself up. Well, how much you need? 500?
A lady from your bank called. She wanted to know if you authorized a check for $5,000 today.
$5,000?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Can we talk about Catherine Hahn?
Catherine Hahn. Because we told the story. She told the story in her interview of the first day not stepping on the tape marks. She thought she didn't want to get the tape dirty. And the first scene, the walk and talk with you, and it goes all the way down for us in the morgue, all the way, the crypt, all the way down to your office. Great, we get it. And I said, okay, got that, let's turn around. She goes, I have to go home? I said, no, it's your close-up.
I remember. See, here's what really happened. She said, okay, we're turning around. She went, what does that mean? I said, it means that we're going to get it from, shoot it from the other, other side because we saw the back of your head, so now we're going to. Should I stay here? I said, no, you don't have to stay here. You can go away because somebody's going to stand in for you. Okay. She's
The way
gonna
she
have a
would say,
long,
Dr.
beautiful,
Macy.
the way she said everything.
I'm anal, actually. Ooh, I can say anal at work, right? Oh, look at all your hair.
We're pretty sure that he was dead before he hit the ground.
Now, have you guys talked about in this thing why this is taking so long?
What's the DVD?
Yeah.
No, I haven't really gotten into it.
Can we
Sure.
discuss that? Is that cool?
Yeah.
Why did it take so long?
Partly because of the amount of music that we use on the show.
Yeah. We didn't want to compromise.
And we could have gone back in and put crappy music in.
Crappy music, phony music. Yeah. Nobody's going to notice. It doesn't matter. How happy are you that you went?
Oh, we did that, and we ended up. We had to lose some songs, but we kept the songs that really made the episodes.
Yes.
What they are, we kept totally intact.
Because I feel, and everybody that I talked to was a fan of the show.
The core fans.
The music was
another character.
Another character,
Yeah.
No question.
Yeah.
Because
It was in the scripts.
Freak.
Yeah.
It was hugely important to
crazy?
Alan.
I know.
It was hugely important to me.
Yeah.
And on any given show, we would have Iggy Pop and Duke Ellington and
Bob Dylan.
All
Rosie.
in one. Right.
Yeah.
In the course
Amy
of one
Mann.
episode.
Yeah. Anything that fit the scene. And we were so rigorous about it. We went through dozens of choices till something had to work, not 90% of the time, 100% of the time.
Right.
Yeah. If it sounded like someone had left the radio on, gone.
But it's amazing when you think of the stuff that we were able to get away with, the tones that we were able to sort of play with in between. I was never really interested in having a show that had one tone. You watch some of the other procedural shows, and nothing.
That's what it is.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
And I just love the idea of having this group of actors who are all capable of playing comedy and drama and melodrama.
I know that that's what you wanted, conceptually, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, for the show. And there were times when you were able to squeak that
Right,
in.
to sneak it in.
In the first,
Absolutely.
in the first episode, probably my favorite, or the first season, probably my favorite is Miracles and Wonders,
Right,
where
right.
it really was that flavor that you wanted. But I think the network back then was frightened by it and didn't know what to
Yeah.
make of it. Done.
Please tell me this isn't a dream.
I'll never forget in the last episode of the season when Lily is leaving and she's getting on the bus. And I didn't know, you didn't tell me, and you didn't tell me.
Right.
And Lily is in line getting on a bus to leave Boston to go back home. And all the people in line on the bus were all the people who played corpses
Right.
throughout the first season. And I was like, wait a second, you're the dead hooker.
Yeah, you're a dead hooker. And
You're a fat bastard. wait. And then everyone, and they're like, yeah.
I'm the exploding Jew.
Exploding Jew, exactly. So,
I'm the guy with the electrical wire in my penis.
that's right. But those
You
things.
don't hear that every day.
No, you don't. Thank goodness.
But you know what?
Please you don't hear it at home.
You smell something funny?
Garrett, it's a morgue. It's supposed to smell bad.
Thank you. Yes. That's the problem in a nutshell.
You about to blow something up? Maybe. Well, don't. Hey, Buck. How's it going?
Swell.
Wow, it's so big.
If you keep talking, I'm gonna have to start that elevator again.
Hey, you've been getting action, haven't you?
Now, what would make you say that?
I happen to be a very interesting guy. Bet you didn't know that.
Well, I'd be lying if I said I did, Garrett.
Oh, yeah, I write poetry, play a little jazz, drums, Greco-Roman wrestle.
Wow, who knew?
I've got to tell you guys, overall, you know, I talk to a lot of actors I work with and stuff, and I hear, oh, you know, I was miserable on the show for 6 years, or this guy was tough, or that one, I was so happy to get off of it. This, you know, 27 years of acting, whatever it's been, this was the finest job I've ever had in my life. And I have the greatest, fondest memories of, you know, not only the work, but the friendships that we all made, and just people that I'll always have in my life and never, ever forget. So thank you guys for that.
Absolutely. And on that note,
Yeah.
I think that's
We
what
got
we're
it,
calling
Dave?
it. All right.
Good. Thank you,
Eddie.
Miguel.
Thank you,
This was
man. I mean it. And here we are. We're